first the sentence?
The question
the
is
sentence
at what
begins.
the question is at what juncture of cosmic manifestation?
Yeah, okay, I got it. So, as Stevens told us earlier, that when the one becomes a many, okay, the many necessarily manifestation causes distortion and diminution. Distortion may not be there so much, but diminution definitely there. So, when does this evil and suffering and falsehood come in? That's what he's asking. At what point? So, I read the sentence. The question is, at what juncture of cosmic manifestation the opposites enter in? Okay, he's asking a question. For it may be either at some stage of the increasing involution of consciousness in separative mind and life, or only after the plunge into inconscience. Okay, so there are two things. One is the coming down. The Satchidananda is coming down, and when it is coming down, it is involution. And when the involution, the many is increasing as it keeps further and further down. Right? That's very clear. So the one becoming the many, and at every stage, the many is increasing. And so the diminution also is increasing. So is it that the falsehood and evil come in the downward motion? Or does it come after it has descended fully into the inconscient? That's what Sridhar is asking. Clear, no? Yeah. So increasing involution is the downward. Huh? The word increasing can be a little confusing. The involution is increasing downwards. So at what point does this falsehood come in? Or is it only after the plunge into inconscience? Okay. These are questions asked. This resolves itself into the question of whether falsehood, error, wrong and evil exist originally in the mental and vital planes, or are native to mind and life, or are proper only to the material manifestation. Now, let's see carefully what he's saying. So, they have already told you, and you must realize this, that when the involution takes place, it creates all these worlds. It creates many worlds, but we are going according to the Vedic, which follows the 7 planes of consciousness. Sat, Chit, Shakti, Supermind, mind, life, body. Okay? Matter, mental world, vital world, and material world. So these are the involutionary planes, and they are vast worlds, and they are pure worlds. Pure world of matter is what we see in the physical universe. Above that is a pure world of life. Okay, this is a pure world only of life. In other words, Swamina has described that all your in synthesis he has described that when you are in this world, desires can be satisfied very easily without the interference of matter or the interference of mind. Similarly, in the involutionary descent, the mental plane is a pure mental plane. Okay? In the pure mental plane, if you reach that level, then knowledge becomes very obvious without the interference of vital and body. Or is it in the manifestation? That means to say, not the pure. Remember that it's a double ladder. There is an involutionary ladder which is on the left side, if you want, and comes down, and then there is a evolutionary ladder parallel to it going upwards. Okay. So the question now is it coming in the evolutionary descent, or is it at the rock bottom in the inconscient, or is it coming at the evolutionary level? He has not yet told us about evolution, but that is the implied question. Okay, because we know that in the material world, there is no evil, there is no suffering, there is no death. So life, when it comes in, obviously suffering is there. Suffering, death also is there in life. Then at the mental level also it is there. So now Srivendra is asking, in the pure mental world and the pure vital world, in the involutionary descent, left-hand side, is it that the falsehood, evil are inherent in these planes in the downward movement? Or is it only after the reaching the inconscience? That's what he's asking. Okay? So this resolves itself into the question of whether falsehood, error, wrong, and evil exist originally in the mental and vital planes. In the mental and vital planes, the pure planes coming down. Okay? There is a difference between the pure planes coming down and the impure planes climbing up on the right hand side, because we know that definitely on the impure planes of mental and vital, there's a lot of mixture, and there is evil there also in mental and vital worlds. There's no evil in the material world. So where is it? Is it there in the involutionary movement, or is it there in the other movement? This is what he's asking. And are native to mind and life, or are proper only to the material manifestation because inflicted on mind and life there by the obscurity arising from the inconscience. So here we may mention one thing, okay, which will make it very clear. When you are starting from the top, it's absolute purity, right? There can be, in the Satchidananda, there can be no suffering, there can be no evil, there can be no falsehood. So there's only a diminution. And when it comes down to the lower level, you are beginning from the absolute truth. So when your origin is the truth, it can only produce truth, maybe decreased and diminished, but it is truth. Now when you're starting from the inconscience, you're starting from darkness. And when you're starting from darkness, you don't know where to go. There is ignorance. So darkness is ignorance. So when you are ignorant of something, you don't know where to go. So you are likely to go into a wrong track, and then you discover that's a wrong track and you come back. So the possibility of evil, suffering, and coming in the upward journey is very logical, because you're starting from the starting point of ignorance and darkness. That's what he will ultimately tell us. Okay, so keep these two things in mind. That when you're starting from the truth, truth may be diminished, but it does not produce evil and suffering. But when you're starting from darkness, in the evolution in the physical world, there is naturally, you don't know where to go, and there's error. Error can come, and of course you learn from error, but even then it is error. Okay, and that error can be very perverse also. You can make very serious mistakes, moral mistakes, spiritual mistakes. Okay, even Srivendra had to face that. I'm going slightly out of context, but it's very interesting. Srivendra says in one place in the record of yoga that all that I had assumed, I now have to restart. I see that that was the wrong path, and now I have to restart. So imagine an avatar coming down and going from inconscient to the superconscient has to face the same problems that every man's soul has to face. He had to discover the path and build it. So that's the work that the avatar has to do. So this gives you an idea of where the evil and suffering could come. They come from in the upward movement and not the downward movement. He has not told us that, but I'm giving you a brief preview. Okay, so now we read that much, so now I'll go to the next sentence. It may be questioned too whether, if they do exist in supraphysical mind and life, now note, supraphysical mind and life are the pure planes of consciousness in the left-hand side. Supraphysical mind and life. Pure mind and pure life. They were original and inevitable there. So there is the outward mind and there is an inner mind. There is an outward vital and an inner vital. Definitely in the outer mind and outer vital, there is suffering, evil and falsehood. But do they exist also in the inner mind, inner vital? These also are asking. Okay. It may be questioned too whether, if they do exist in supraphysical mind and life, they were original and inevitable there. For they may rather have entered in as a consequence or a supraphysical extension from a material manifestation. So, Interesting what he's saying, huh? So just see. For they may rather have entered in as a consequence or a supraphysical extension from the material as an enabling supraphysical affirmation. Now, what is enabling supraphysical manifestation? Do they exist in seed form, a potential possible that then flowers in the lower manifestation? This is what he's asking with this question. In other words, are they already potential in the supraphysical over mind where the many originate, thus enabling falsehood and error to sprout and blossom in the just one second. And blossom in the physical world. So these are the questions he's asking, and then he will come to it. Okay, so now it's clear what he's saying. We are still investigating. Could it be that there's no falsehood in the Satchidananda, but are they latent there? Just like the tree, which you don't see in the seed, but it is there. So similarly, is falsehood, evil, and suffering latently there in Satchidananda? That's what he's asking. Okay, but can we say, for instance, that the many is potentially there in the one? That seems very reasonable. But if many is there potentially in the one, could it be also that falsehood, evil also are there? That's the question he's asking. It's $1 million question. So, definitely, the many are potential in the one, isn't it? Otherwise, it won't come out. So now this many becoming, then Srimdev will answer that no, it is not like that. Because even in the many, when you are in the physical world, it is not necessarily that you have to undergo suffering and evil and falsehood. Because the yogi who lives in the physical world, he does not have to undergo these. So they do, then the conclusion will be that they arise in the vital world and the mental world in the upward evolution, not in the downward evolution. But he's asking only questions now, but I've already given you the answer. Okay? So, is it now clear now? So it may be question. He's asking many questions and he's not yet answered them. He's asking questions only. So I read that sentence again. It may be questioned too, whether if they do exist in supraphysical mind and life, supraphysical mind, you'll be very clear, is the inward, the downward movement, the pure involutionary movement. They were original and inevitable there. Could they have been there? For they may rather have entered in as a consequence or a supraphysical extension from the material manifestation. Could they have been colored by the material world throwing up its smoke into the higher worlds? Could it be that also? That's what he's asking. Or if that is untenable, it may be that they arose as an enabling supraphysical affirmation in the universal mind, enabling supraphysical affirmation. Okay, enable is not there, but it can be enabled to do that. That means potential. No? In the universal mind and life, a precedent necessity for their appearance in that manifestation, to which they more naturally belong as an inevitable outcome of the creative inconscience. So, this precedent necessity, look at the words carefully, precedent necessity, that means that which is involved. The tree is a precedent necessity in a seed. It is necessarily it's going to come out. Okay, but before. So the word precedent necessity is very interesting. One really marvels at Srimdev's language. No? So if you give the idea of the tree and the seed, it becomes very obvious. The seed contains the tree, but you don't see it. It is only potential. So precedent necessity. Could they be in the pure mind plane and pure vital plane? He's asking. Okay. To which more naturally they belong as an inevitable outcome of the creative inconscience. Now, creative inconscience, very clearly, the upward movement of evolution. The inconscience is creating life and creating mind and creating the other. So, if you had not used the word creative, there would be a little problem. But when you say creative inconscience, very clearly is meaning the ladder on the right, the upward movement. Okay, because it's creating. So, clear? Now, I give you the summary, okay, of this rather interesting discussion. So, I'm giving you the summary and then we'll go on to the next para. So, truth and good alone exist in the supreme absolute and not their contraries. So, falsehood does not exist in the supreme absolute, nor evil. Only good and truth exist, which are falsehood and evil. The contraries are falsehood and evil. But the moment truth and good manifest in the physical world, they subject themselves to limitation, therefore to distortion and perversion. Potentially. And their opposites can enter in simultaneously, theoretically. As manifestation of Sat, Chit, Shakti, Ananda becomes a reality, and as their conception also becomes possible, so too their opposites become conceivable, therefore realities. Consequently, all dualities appear in the world. On that ground alone, it may be stated that in the manifested world, truth and falsehood, good and evil, become permanent companions in the cosmos. This much is sure. In the cosmos, in the physical world, truth and falsehood exist together. Good and evil exist together. Okay? So all the opposites have equal, these are the dualities in the physical world. And the dualities are a natural consequence of the one becoming the many infinitely. So opposites come up. Okay? Next, having said that, we must immediately add a rider. These dualities exist only in the manifested world and not in the supraphysical planes. In the timeless and spaceless planes, they do not exist. What does not exist? Falsehood and evil. They don't exist. In the cosmos, falsehood and evil come in because the limitation of consciousness and force and the breakup of unity into the many. Falsehood and evil can exist only in limitation and ignorance. Even in the manifestation, the simultaneity of truth and falsehood, good and evil, is not inevitable. But the Mayavadins and the Buddhists are saying it is inevitable. The world is permanently evil and permanently false. And they are denying that. So they are saying no, it's not necessarily so. Where even in the cosmos there is complete mutuality and oneness of consciousness and force, there cannot be any falsehood and evil. So if you can achieve in your consciousness unity, okay, and mutuality, very interesting, cosmic consciousness. When you are in the cosmic consciousness, everything is mutual. You are others and others are you. Okay? You are in the many and the many are in you. So there cannot be any falsehood. You are saying the truth. Okay? So there cannot be any falsehood and evil. Under the conditions of mutuality and oneness, only truth and good can exist. And if you are in the physical world and you manage to get the consciousness of the cosmic consciousness, then naturally it doesn't exist for you. So we see that even in the manifested cosmos, there is no inevitability of falsehood and evil. And this is very interesting because if there is no inevitability, one day even the falsehood and evil will disappear in the physical world. Okay? And that's exactly what's going to happen when the supermind descends. But supermind, when it descends, even in the physical world, there will be a part, the supramental world in the physical, which will be free of falsehood, evil, death, and suffering. But the rest will be always there because you are it will be there. Okay, the animals will remain animals. The ignorant human beings will remain ignorant. But in the physical world, the divine is also going to show you that there can be mutuality and there can be also no death and no suffering for those who are in the spiritual plane of consciousness. But they are in the physical world. Huh? That's why. So if this conception is one day it will disappear. Now, all separation culminates in opposites, dualities. That is obvious. But I must add, all separation infinitely. If the separation is not infinite, then maybe it does not end up in opposites. It can end up only in dualities. The one becoming the many. Okay. But if that many becomes infinite, then the opposites come in. That's very clear. Okay. So unconsciousness, okay, all separation culminates in opposites, dualities. Thus, knowledge becomes ignorance, consciousness becomes unconsciousness, and this makes possible wrong consciousness, wrong knowledge, wrong feeling, wrong will, wrong action and reaction. Now, a question arises. Where does separation begin, allowing all wrongness to enter? Does the multiplicity begin in the evolutionary process itself, or does it come only after the evolutionary process starts from in the upward journey back to Satchidananda? Is it that inconscience inflicts its darkness on the upper principles of mind and life? And again, is it possible that in the supraphysical planes, the multiplicity exists in seed form? Okay, that's another thing. The multiplicity doesn't exist in the seed form without the final manifested forms, which enables the sprouting and blossoming of the many in the world. So many questions here asked. All right, agree that in the involutionary descent, there is no evil and no suffering and no falsehood. But are they potentially there? This is the interesting question. Are they potentially there in the involutionary movement? Put it very bluntly, Satchidananda is truth. Okay? Ananda. But is the possibility of Nirananda and falsehood there in the supermind? That's a question he's asking. Okay? He will answer, no, it is not. So this is the question, and now we can go to the next para. Okay? So Archana, it is a very interesting para. All paras are interesting, but this also, you can see the way he uses words. Okay? Note the words: enabling supraphysical affirmation, precedent necessity, creative inconscience. All these are suggestions which you have to catch. So, Ashwati, can you read? Are you in a position to read the next one?
No, Rangat, I will not be able to read. So,
okay. So then,
Yes, I will read.
Yeah, you can read. Yeah, it was for a long time.
It was for a long time held by the human mind as a traditional knowledge that when we go beyond the material plane, these things are found to exist there also in worlds beyond us. There are in these planes of supraphysical experience, powers and forms of a vital mind and life that seem to be the pre-physical foundation of the discordant, defective, or purpose forms and powers of life mind and life force which we find in the terrestrial existence. There are forces, and subliminal experience seems to show that there are supraphysical beings embodying those forces that are attached in their root nature to ignorance, to darkness of consciousness, to misuse of force, to perversity of delight, to all the causes and consequences of the things that we call evil. These powers, beings, or forces are active to impose their adverse constructions upon terrestrial creatures. Eager to maintain their reign in the manifestation, they oppose the the increase of light and truth and good, and still more, are antagonistic to the progress of the soul towards a divine consciousness and divine existence. It is this feature of existence that we see figured in the tradition of the conflict between the powers of light and darkness, good and evil, cosmic harmony and cosmic anarchy, a tradition universal in ancient myth and in religion, and common to all systems of occult knowledge.
Okay, very small para, and he's saying that for a long time it has been held, okay, by humankind, mankind, that in the physical world, all these things do exist. Okay, and the proof is that there are hostile powers in the life worlds, and there are up to the life worlds. Okay, in the mental worlds, the hostile beings don't exist in the mental worlds, but in the borderline between the vital world and the mental world, there are beings which are not very conducive. In fact, there are three types of bad forces. There are the Rakshasas, then there are the Daityas, okay, and there are the Asuras. Okay, so Pishacha, Rakshasa, and Asura. These are the three words. The Pishachas are the ones that are almost material vital. Okay, Pishachas. Then the what is the next one? Rakshasas. They are more in the vital world. And the Asuras are at the vital world, but mentally they are bordering on the mental world, but all limited to the vital world itself. Okay? So three types. In the essence of the Gita, these three terms are also very given very clearly, and in the letters he explains. In one of the classes, Tarika asked the difference between these three: Pishachas, Rakshasas, and Asuras. And I looked up, and in the letters on yoga, he explains the difference. So these are the gradation. The lowest are the Pishachas. We also know that many creatures exist in the vital worlds. Beings, okay, who are, they can be very playful, they can be very mischievous. Mother has had encounter with many of them. Okay, so they are called elves, gnomes, goblins. All these, many people have experienced all these. Even these so-called fairy-like creatures, they are all there in the vital worlds. Okay, there are some people in the ashram who are capable of seeing these, I am told. Okay, so anyway, I know some of them, but I won't take names. They say that they can see. Quite a few are there who, when they go to the gardens, the lakes and all that, then there are creatures who have the function of opening and blossoming the flowers. It's not necessarily that they are absolutely a mechanical movement, but there are beings who help the flowers to blossom. Okay. Mother had experiences, if you remember, in the Mediterranean Sea. She was going in a ship, and there was no question of a storm. But suddenly one day a storm came up. So she wondered how it came. It was not supposed to be there. She goes on the deck, on the top deck, and she sees that there are small beings which are having fun creating this storm. So she immediately told them to shut up. And the storm subsided in 10-15 minutes. Okay. There is one experience she had. Then 2-3 other experiences also in ashram. Okay. Once she had put milk on the stove and she moved away to do some other work, and one of these beings, okay, they pulled her skirt to show her that it's time to go back to the stove. And when she went back, it was just enough time to stop the milk from overflowing. The one experience that she had. Another experience was a very interesting one. All the clocks in the ashram stopped at the same time. So this is also they are playful creatures and they enjoy all these things in the vital worlds. Elves, gnomes, goblins. And Shivamda was not amused at all. He was quite annoyed. Okay. They play all these games. So this is what is describing in the para. I'll read each para, I'll read each sentence, we've got time. Okay, we've got 6 minutes. We can easily finish the para. It was for a long time held by the human mind as a traditional knowledge that when we go beyond the material plane, these things are found to exist there also in the worlds beyond us. So when you go beyond the material, you enter the vital world and the mental world. All these things exist there. There are in these planes of supraphysical experience powers and forms of vital mind and life that seem to be pre-physical foundation of the discordant, defective, or perverse forms and powers of life mind and life force. Mind you, life mind is a combination of life and mind and life force, which we find in the terrestrial existence. When you go to the vital world, but in the evolutionary, not in the involutionary. Okay, there are two double ladder Sridhar calls them. The involutionary worlds and the evolutionary worlds. So in the evolutionary worlds in life, you see all these creatures and powers are there. Okay, asuras, rakshasas, pisachas, elves, gnomes, goblins, they are all there, which find their terrestrial existence, which we find in the terrestrial existence. There are forces, and subliminal experience seems to show that there are supraphysical beings embodying these forces. So there is a force of evil, there is a force of suffering, and there are beings which represent them. This we have discussed very often in the past also, that to every impersonal existence in the physical world, there are personal beings also which represent them. So if there is truth, there will be someone representing truth. If there is falsehood, there will be someone representing falsehood. Okay. These are the forces. And subliminal experience, when you go to the higher levels of consciousness, you see that these supraphysical beings, and they are immortal, by the way, they don't die. They are immortal. Supraphysical beings embodying these forces that are attached in their root nature to ignorance, to darkness of consciousness, to misuse of force, to perversity of delight, to all the causes and consequences of the things that we call evil. So in other words, he is telling you that the evil starts in the upward evolutionary movement in the vital worlds. These powers, beings or forces, are active to impose their adverse constructions upon terrestrial creatures. Terrestrial creatures, animals, and also human beings. But the animals don't feel that. They don't feel the evil powers or the good powers, whatever. But human beings feel that. Eager to maintain their reign in the manifestation. In the vital world, the beings that exist there, they don't want you to go beyond them. So they eager to maintain their reign in the manifestation. They oppose the increasing of light and truth and good, and still more are antagonistic to the progress of the soul towards the divine consciousness and divine existence. So the life worlds contain all these beings that obstruct your spiritual progress. It is this feature of existence that we see figured in the tradition of the conflict between the powers of light and darkness, good and evil, cosmic harmony and cosmic anarchy, tradition universal in ancient myth and religion and common to all systems of occult knowledge. So all these are there everywhere. There is Jannat and Jahannam. There is Ahura Mazda and the other one, I forget the name. Ahura Mazda and Ahriman. Yeah, in the Iranian tradition or the Parsi tradition, if you want. And there is also the Christ and Antichrist. Good and evil, heaven and hell. All these are there. Okay, these are the all systems who have access to the occult worlds. They know that these forces exist. So we can stop here today. And the theory of this traditional knowledge we'll read next time. So he has begun to give you the solution to the problem. Yes, tell me.
Oh, what are Gandharvas? Gandharvas.
Oh, Gandharvas belong to the mental worlds.
That
Pure mental worlds, not the evolutionary mental world, but the pure mental worlds, the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, okay, all the beings, semi-divine beings, beings of light, they exist in the mental worlds. But the
Oh,
mental,
Rangata?
yes, tell
Oh,
me.
do they evolve? Like you said the three levels of evil beings. You said the three levels of evil beings: Bichara, Rakshasa, Asura. So do they also evolve from Bichara to
No,
Rakshasa?
no, there is no evolution in these worlds.
Ah,
They are typal worlds, they don't evolve.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
In fact, even the gods at the overmind level, if they want to evolve, they have to come down to the physical world. And there is a very good rational explanation for that. Remember, when planes are immutable. Immutable means no movement. And if there is no movement, how can there be evolution? Evolution is an upward movement. So these words are all typal words. So they are fixed types. They don't evolve. And they are also immortal. There.
So the Rakshasa, they are going to be Rakshasa eternally?
Yeah, they're permanent beings. They can be
Oh,
transformed, but they cannot be killed.
okay.
But they will continue to exist because they have also their function. Huh? They are the ones who challenge you. You may think that, I am fine. But the Rakshasa will come and point out your defects. And that will give you an opportunity to get rid of your defects. So they have a function. Okay. Just as suffering and evil also has a function. Okay. Their function is to, their function is to push you upwards.
Oh, Rangada, did you say they can be transformed? They say they can be transformed?
Yes. That's what Mother said.
Oh.
They can be transformed, but they cannot be killed. They cannot. And that they cannot be killed is, there is a very interesting image. There is an asura called Rakta Bija. Okay? Rakta Bija. So when you kill him, the blood that will flow, each seed of blood will become an asura. So that's a symbol saying that they cannot be killed. These are permanent worlds and permanent beings that exist in them.
Rangada, then if they can be transformed, they can become like a good, like a thing, good
Yes,
vital being.
yes, that's right.
Mm.
But that is a
Wow.
subject which is going far beyond our knowledge. That we have to yeah,
What about the vital beings who
yeah,
harass a human being and
yes,
make that person think totally irrationally and produce schizophrenia?
yes, they are there. They do
Uh,
exist.
so what do you do to them to
No,
prevent harassment?
no, so you have to get rid of their influence by becoming pure. When you become pure, they have
Uh,
no power to enter into you. Because you
so
are in
how do you become pure?
yoga. Yoga is a,
Yeah, but you just say yoga. That is fine. But if
you
a
cannot,
person if a person is harassed by wrong thoughts, okay, then
uh,
how do you make that person realize that these are the hostile vital forces which are affecting you?
no, without affecting, no, you can only give mental, you can say that there are forces which are, but also remember there are many other types of things. There is also the law of karma. Okay. Whatever you have done, you are undergoing the consequences of that. So if you are in a position where you are likely to be attacked, then the asuras will attack you. But in your, there is a growth now, the soul that is coming. And in that growth, the difficulties are inevitable. But a time will come when you are able to meet these difficulties and become free of them. That is the whole purpose of evolutionary yoga. Okay. But until then, everybody has to undergo these troubles. Everybody. You have to cross. You can't cross a river without a bridge. But when you walk on the bridge,
Pona
okay,
now.
Pardon?
No, nothing, nothing. Okay, because sometimes I see these people suffering from schizophrenia,
Yeah.
and you see how harassed they are,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, to the point of committing suicide.
Yes. That's
And
right.
then,
That's what
and
Shannon is saying, that there is suffering and evil in the world. That's what he's saying. That's why we started with that, no? Yeah, they're very much there. Yeah, everybody has to undergo some form or other of suffering. But if you are very lucky and you get your psychic in forward, the difficulties will not disappear, but you will be very much helped. Difficulties can never disappear. Everybody is subject to the laws of karma. Whatever you have done in the past, you have to undergo the result. Good and bad, both. Okay?
okay,
So,
merci
Rangada,
beaucoup.
the way we can say,
Yeah, tell me.
yes, we can say as evolutionary is a continuous process, evolution. It will continue always. So these things are always needed for the process of evolution.
Yes.
So as we grow, I mean, like, suppose somebody goes to that stage, like has become a yogi, or there are still people who have to become. So probably their need will never end. So they are always there.
That's right. Exactly. So the one individual who has become liberated, he is free from these influences. That's right.
But when
Okay.
the supramental
Ah.
goes and inhabits each and every animal, creature, everything, then the need of these hostile beings are not there.
No, 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 no. You're making a big mistake. The Superman is already there. In potential only. It should not
Yeah,
be.
but
Should be.
no, I'm talking of the future when Sri Aurobindo will come back on earth
May-
in a supramental body.
No, for that, Rangata, in that, for that, Sherwin is always told, even when the supramental race comes, whenever it comes,
Yeah.
the other will not become extinct. All the others will be there. Just as when man came, the other animals and plants did not become extinct. So,
Exactly.
the
So
life
when,
may become better, but it will still exist.
yes.
The
Yeah,
others will
so
still
human
exist.
beings,
Life may
just
become
as
better. As
human
mental
beings are
has a
superior
change
to
in the world,
animals,
supramental will
the
bring a change in the
supramental
world.
race will be superior to the humans.
Yes, but a human being at an ordinary level will not be supramental, nor will the animal be. What Archana said is absolutely correct. Okay? So when you, Jasmine, you say that the supramental descends into animals and plants, they are not going to become divine. They are there only potentially there. The supermind is already there in matter, in the inconscient, but it is potential. There is a big difference between potential and actual. Okay? Yeah,
But what I thought is, okay, once the whole supramental race descends, okay, then I know that humans will be those inferior people who will be there.
okay.
But would ultimately the humans also not become supramental?
Not at one particular time.
I'm talking of much, much ahead. Much ahead.
No. The structure of the universe will remain the same. It's only that in the physical world, the divine is revealing his divinity in slow steps. First, he reveals matter, then he reveals life, which is far superior to matter. But matter has not disappeared. So you have to be very clear about this. Then when mind comes in, the animals are not disappearing, but they are helped to become quicker from animal to man. Exactly in the same way, when the avatars come, the yogis come, man is helped more quickly to become what he is not. Okay, he can become a yogi. And when the supramental race comes, the help will be increased at all the levels, but only the help. Okay? Nobody is going to become absolutely divine everywhere. Even matter will start becoming divine. Okay, it's not like that. The structure of the universe will remain the same. Only more and more powers are being revealed in the upward evolution. So as we said, there are more atoms than animals. There are more animals than men. There are, less. There are more men than yogis. And there will be more yogis than supermen. It will be a pyramidal structure. But this is being revealed in the physical world. Okay? That you have to keep in mind. Okay?
Yeah, merci beaucoup.
Okay. I'm cutting the link.
Thank you, Rangada.
Thank you, Rangada.